Stephen O'Brien. I'm the chair of Castlepollard Local Development, and we're your hosts tonight. Obviously, you know we have a special guest, but we also have a couple of other speakers, and I'll mention those in a moment. I do hope we're going to put together an interesting evening, interesting and informative in the light of community development, community activation, and funding, which is always key to making things happen. So, as I mentioned, we're going to have just a few words from Ciaran, who's joined us from the North Midlands Credit Union. We're going to have a few words from Tom Griffin from the Midlands.jobs website, and then our main speaker will be Mullooly. So, if I may, I just want to take a few moments to talk about our own group, which is Castlepollard Local Development. And we've been on the go for 7 years now. And it's a long and slog, but finally we're on the cusp of, I suppose, the first major project that we identified, which is the regeneration of the market hall on the square, and also the larger public groundworks, and in particular, which is going to commence soon, which is the town park, which is a significant development for a town of our size. We haven't had a town park before. We're going to have a town park, playground areas, basketball court, paths, benches, and a safe path down to the community college on Mullooly Road. I think that's a really positive silver lining to it. And we found out just today that the commencement of that work should be as soon as 2 weeks from now. And of course, that work is on a greenfield site, so we should see the fruits of it sooner. Much sooner than the market hall itself. So, just to move on there, I think it's important to say that as we go into a new year, the other main thing that's going to happen is the delivery of the Town Teams Initiative to Castlepollard. And Castlepollard is the second town to get it here in County Westmeath. And our group, Castlepollard Local Development, are really looking forward to engaging with that process and looking forward to further developments of the town and identifying needs and desires and begin pushing on to deliver them. But the main thing that we have already as a group targeted is the St. Peter's complex. Now, some of you might think that that's a lot to take on, or a lot to even consider to take on. We're aware of the sensitivities there. We're aware of the size of the plot, etc. The complexities of the entire endeavour to get that far. But we've made some progress already. We've had mention of the project included in the local economic development plan. We've also had a motion passed at the county council level seeking mentoring and architectural and heritage advice for our group, so that we can explore the possibilities of what might happen. But again, that is obviously for the future. But I will say that in terms of the Town Teams Initiative, we will be bringing that as a project to that forum, and we do hope to be able to move on with that. Now, again, our group is 7 years old, and the regeneration project hasn't just begun yet. No doubt, you'll accept you need to have patience and perseverance to deliver anything. But I do hope we'll find people to come and join our group, and indeed to get involved in the later Town Teams initiative as time goes by. Now, I don't believe I recognise everyone here tonight, so I'm guessing we've had, having cast the net wide, we've got some people here who've taken time to come here and to hear Ciaran in particular. So again, I'm very grateful for you if you have come here and travelled, and I do hope you enjoy the evening. So I will hand you over to Ciaran from North Westmeath. Thank you.
It's great to be here today. Thanks for asking us over to represent the North Midlands Credit Union. I'm the branch supervisor and loans officer here in Castlepollard. We're one of the largest credit unions in Ireland, and we have branches across loads of different areas. The main office is Mullooly. So a few years ago we took on Bridge first, then we took on Kinnegad, Castlepollard, Longford and Lanesborough Valley League. And you may wonder, why do we take on these credit unions? It's not that any of these credit unions are suffering in any way, they're striving and they're doing very well. It's to offer the services of a larger credit union to the smaller ones and to save them closing, because with legislation and regulation and all that, we need, you know, risk and compliance officers and anti-money laundering officers, things like that in all credit unions now. So you wouldn't expect that of a small credit union. So that's when the amalgamations and the transfer of engagements take place. And it offers a wide range of services then to the smaller communities. So you might wonder, if you don't have an account, how do you join? You have to be living in a common bond. So every credit union has a common bond area. So if you live or work in that area, or you go to school, if you're the younger generation, or you're living with a family member that already has an account, you are able to open up an account in any of our branches. And to open up an account, you need 3 forms of ID. So passport or driver license for your picture ID. Proof of your address will be something official like a utility bill or a bank statement posted within the last 6 months, and then proof of your PPS number. And a €5 charge is to get your account active and up and running. So we offer so many services. We've now online services where we have online you can have a current account with a debit card that works worldwide. It's recognised online and in all countries, and online facilities to see what your balances are and transfer funds. You can get paid your wages in, child benefit, your social welfare payment, all of that can come into the credit union. So we've all the facilities of a bank now, whereas years ago was fairly basic. So I suppose I'm here tonight, and I'm delighted to be here for the financial institution in our local area, because as you all know, rural Ireland are losing banks. We've Ulster Bank a few years gone from here, Bank of Ireland. So we're here open 5 days a week in the Castlepollard branch, and when you're in any of those other areas, Mullooly, Longford, you can avail of all of those branches. So we offer loans. We have several different loans. Personal loan, I was here recently a few months ago before Christmas, talking about greenify loans. So we're all about greenifying our house and our life and everything in general. So we offer that with mortgages and student loans. So several different loans. So northmidlandscu.ie is our website if you want to look into anything regarding what we offer. But I suppose something important to talk about tonight is what we do in the credit union. We are embedded in the community, and we are focusing on our members and our communities and best interests at heart always. So every year we have a social and cultural funding. So we give, I'll tell you now how. So since 1998, the North Midlands Credit Union has provided funds to local groups within every area. So whether it be a sporting group, a little residential group, any groups, whether it's up and running, existing or newcomer, we offer funds to that. So the Social and Cultural Fund is approved by the Board of Directors, and the purpose of the fund is to give recognition to and financial support to these voluntary organisations. So that opens up around March, April each year, and then the funding is given out every May to the groups. So definitely something worth looking into. The form is on our website to download and fill in, or else call into any of our branches and you can get that form. So, we're all about the community and little local groups, trying to encourage that and keep them going. So that's something important that we do, and definitely here to emphasise that here tonight. So that's all, so basically delighted to be here representing the credit union and still being active in the smaller community. So that's it. Thank
you, Ciaran. And I think it's important to note that if you are forming a group, very often one of the first things you have to do is create banking facilities, and I think you should really go any further than the credit union. In terms of local economy, about business, I'm thinking about locality, I'm going to ask Tom Griffith from midlandsjobs.ie. Let's take a step up. The services over there.
Thanks very much, Ciaran. You can roll it there, Colette. I've always wanted to say that. This is my big night. Just looking around the room, I could be wrong, but there mightn't be too many job seekers, or there may be some employers and maybe some job seekers. We always start on the premise that people haven't heard of us, no one knows what midlandjobs.ie does. If we can just, go back, Siobhan, sorry, go back to the previous one. This, I suppose, is partly what we're about. I suppose this is from yesterday's news, but it's not really yesterday's news, it's the news for the last 10 or 15 years. Dublin is grinding to a halt, and you can imagine if, no matter how bad a day any of us have had here in the Midlands, can you just imagine if you were, maybe some of you were, but I know I wasn't, and there's probably a fair cohort of people that are stuck in traffic every single day, and they're looking for a way out, and they're kind of looking, they go onto Google and they try and find what sort of job vacancies there may be, for example, in the Midlands region. So that's what Midland Jobs is here to do. Siobhan, now you can move on, thank you. So midlandjobs.ie, it's essentially a job board, which means that it's a website, it's like a portal for jobs for the Midlands region, which we consider to be Offaly, Westmeath, Longford and Laois, and then I suppose surrounding counties that are commutable really from these regions, if you like, and places like Castlepollard. Okay, so essentially all you have to do, if you're, as I say, on your phone or your laptop and you're looking for a job for the Midlands, just you generally Google or go onto midlandjobs.ie directly and you put in your search criteria. Okay, so if you go ahead there, Siobhan, to the next one. So in this case, the location is Castlepollard, County Westmeath, and you can set it so that you're literally within 10 kilometres of Castlepollard, and then within that there are 11 live job vacancies within that 10 kilometre radius, if you like. So it's very simple, and it's well known that it's a bit of a struggle nowadays for local employers to find a suitable talent in their local area. So, you know, one thing is for sure, like if you're, for example, the Castlepollard Hotel and you need an extra chef or bar manager or something, if you don't have that vacancy listed online, you're far less likely to find somebody suitable to fill that job. Okay, so what we do is we make it as simple as possible for local employers. We're aware that some of our competitors, for whatever reason, make it complicated and bureaucratic and difficult, but within 3.5 minutes and 8 clicks, you can, if you're a local employer or a local manager, you can have your vacancy listed on our service. So you can go ahead there, Siobhan. And obviously, people can find those job vacancies and view them on their mobile phones. Okay, so that's what people are doing nowadays, and if you're not there, you're probably not going to hire. So it's kind of simple as that. We also use that information, and we basically we use that feed to push out to a lot of different channels. We've got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. The artist formerly known as Twitter, which is now X. And we also use some of the local media outlets, such as topic.ie. So if you open up the topic any week and go to situations vacant, you'll see all our job vacancies listed. So look, that's kind of it. I'm not going to bore you for too much longer, but just simply that we're delighted to be here, and thanks very much to the likes of Noel and Stephen. And it's great that Castlepollard has such an active group. Just the last slide there, Colette, Siobhan. The other thing is that there are so many new job vacancies opening up for the Midlands region. You know, this was a headline from last week, not 2020 or 2022, but just last week, 2024, about the Midlands region, about job. You know, Midlands is the strongest for IDA Ireland job growth in 2023. So isn't that some turnaround? If you think about it, like just what 10 or 12 years ago, it was such a different story. You know, there were no jobs, and people were leaving the country. And we might like to give out about our public representatives, but this has been a serious turnaround, and it's got so positive, really. You know, so that helps country towns like Castlepollard. So look, congratulations to the committee. Thanks very much for having us. One last thing to say, if you go on to castlepollard.ie, you will find a feed of jobs through Midland Jobs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Just want to underline that if you go to our own website, castlepollard.ie, it's one of the pages there you can go directly to, and I think it's zoned in on the 15-kilometre range already. So if you want to do a quick search, you go there directly. Just in terms of something I want to just headline for you tomorrow, in case you're not aware, Operation Transformation are coming to town, and if you're interested, if you are on the square at 7 o'clock tomorrow, you could meet somebody called Carl Henry. That's your thing. Okay. Well, the main event, the main guest, I should say, Ciaran Mullooly is here. And I want to welcome him. I want to thank him for giving us time. This is really timely that we have a chance to have an information evening about his transition. And welcome guest here, Castlepollard. Please give him a good welcome. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks very much for the invitation. It's great to get to Castlepollard. We talked about this a good while ago. It's nice to be here this evening, and what a great positive start to tonight. The jobs website with local jobs a few minutes ago. The credit union, they took us over, and Leinster Valley League as well. And there've been nothing but positive since they did that. Absolutely fantastic. And boy, did we appreciate that €500 to give our community group last year as well. And the hotel. And that's probably going to be my starting point tonight. That you played your strengths in community development, and you have a fabulous hotel. And you are lucky to have a fabulous hotel. Because in the present climate, not too many towns have it. My town hasn't got it. I come from a place called Lainsborough in County Longford. We had 2 hotels and 7 pubs, and when I was born in 1966, now we have no hotel, and we have 3 pubs. And I'm envious of you. I've had a look around here, the car park, the bar. I saw my friend a few minutes ago enjoying the seafood salad. I was enjoying the food up there. It was lovely, absolutely beautiful. And I say to you, embrace your hotel. Give them the business. Keep them open. Because they're part of the economy of the town. So we'll say about that. So my name is Ciaran Mullooly. I'm 57 years old. I'm from a place called Lainsborough in County Longford, which is under a Scotland border. I suppose I might be known for a little bit of broadcasting over the years. I've been here before once or twice to St. Peter's and to other stories in the year. It wasn't the first time I was in St. Peter's. My aunt, Annie Kenny from Edgestown, worked in St. Peter's. So I was there several times before when she worked in the place, in the last 40 years, I suppose. And of course, I covered it in more recent years. But prior to that, and I suppose during that period and after, I've been involved in community development. I've been involved in community development for 40 years. At 17, I was at PRO in our GA club. And ever since I've been, what's the word, a fool? Or I've been caught, or been arm twisted, or been what? I suppose that's one of the reasons I want to talk to you tonight. What was my motivation for getting involved in community development? And what perhaps might be your motivation for getting involved in community development? So a bit of audience research to start proceedings maybe this evening. I'd ask everybody who lives in the town of Castlepollard to raise their hand at the moment, please. Very good. If you live within 5 kilometres of the town, raise your hand. And if you live outside 5 kilometres, raise your hand. Very good. If you're in business in the town, raise your hand, please. Very good. If you're in politics in the area, raise your hand, please. And if you're in community development or county council, local associations, whatever, raise your hand as well, please. Great stuff. That covers nearly everybody here tonight. So at least I know who I'm speaking to. in terms of what we're doing. So, I mean, firstly, if you've been here before working with the group, congratulations on what you achieved. I want to pay a tribute to the guys who are involved and what I've seen so far, because it is a thankless job. I've been doing it for 40 years. We don't do it for the kudos. We all have different reasons for doing it. And you know, sometimes we're not popular. Sometimes we're called do-gooders. Sometimes we're called, you know, little hitlers. It wasn't little, mind you, it was called that once. And other times, some people do it for different reasons. But at the end of the day, it's done, the work is done, so I congratulate the people who are already involved. But I also want to say, if you're here tonight for the first time, because you have an interest in a project, or you have an interest in improving the area, or improving your own business, or your own lot of your family, you're welcome. And I really hope that you leave tonight with a little mission for the future. I'm going to try and plant something in your head as you go home, something for the good of you, your family, your business, the town, the parish, whatever is your motivation. Because that's probably the key thing that's involved here. Your motivation, that's the key thing. Really, why do you want Castlepollard to do better? Why would you want it? Why are you here? What do we really need? Well, we don't need a hotel. There's one solved straight away. You have a hotel and a good one. But what are the other things we haven't got? And I'm really excited by some of the projects I heard this evening. Well, I want to maybe start with a little film to talk about, you know, the motivation and the ability to do something. I want to tell you about a lady called Dorothy Coyle. Dorothy Coyle is in her 40s now. She was born with a disability. She's been in a wheelchair for most of her life, and she's from Roscommon town. And Dorothy was a great fan of the water. Despite her disability, she was a swimmer, still is. And she always came out to my hometown, Ballyleague and Lanesborough on the Shannon, and she looked at the cruisers, some of the river, she looked at the cruises and the boats, and we have a good thing going for us there. We have 3,000 or 4,000 cruises on the Shannon every year, about 13,000 people. But Dorothy was never on a boat, because she couldn't get on the boat. Because her wheelchair was not able to get on the boat. The boat design didn't assist it, she never got an opportunity to do so. And as a result of that, she was envious of the people coming in on the cruisers. And we had the regattas during the year, she was envious. And we had the fishing competition, she said, this is crazy, how come we can't get in it? And then the good part of the story was, a man from not your country came down to us to a fishing competition and helped her change all of that, Dorothy and herself. A man called Alan Broderick from over in Crookedwood, renowned fishing expert, came to town, had a chat with us one day and said to us, well, why should Dorothy not get on the boat? Why? Is there a good reason? You know, why should she have to watch from the riverbank while the boat goes out of the area? And we changed that. Dorothy changed that. And I'm going to ask, not Colette, Ciaran, I think, is it? To play our first video tonight, maybe to give you a little impression of what can be achieved if you want to achieve it.
Out in the water, people don't see the disability. They see Dorothy, they see John, they see James, they see us. That's why the boat is so important. It's for everybody, not just for people with disabilities, it's for everybody. It can be possible if you make it possible.
So it's probably the last line I was going to talk to you about. It can be possible if you make it possible. That was Dorothy's last line on the video. And it's very much my theme tonight in terms of, you know, we used to have this at home as well in Lanesborough. We can't do that. We're not able to do that. We really are not able to do that. How would we do that? Where would we start? It's not possible. You heard Dorothy. And how did she do it? She came together, brought people, like-minded people together. Day one, what did they do? A little feasibility study on a boat. She got Alan and a few of them went off to look around the world to see where you could find a boat. They found a guy in Sweden with a boat who had turned a little boat, like a little car ferry, and he had arranged the bowsman down front. It wasn't rocket science really, was it? It wasn't rocket science. And Dorothy brought us all out, and we had a look at it, and we did the feasibility study, got it done, and and it cost about €7,500. And the leader company paid for it. Anyone from the leader company tonight? I'm sure they're very active in West Meath. I know the manager actually, Frank Murphy, good on for a man. I'm sure they'll be open again shortly for feasibility studies if you have a good idea. That's your opening line. If you have an idea, feasibility study. We need to look at it in depth. In other words, Dorothy couldn't just put it on the channel and say, will it ever be used? Will there be money? Who put the money in the diesel in it? Who will be the skipper? All of that stuff. So we spent about $7,500 in 2015 to put that together. And it came in and it went on the shelf. And we thought, that's the end of it. That's the end of it. Gone, gone, gone. But lo and behold, about 2 years onwards, the lady in the leader office who was in charge of the feasibility study came out and said, you know what, we have an opening for projects. We like the look of your project. Where's that business plan? And we said, well, we're finishing the business plan now. And Dorothy came together with Alan and a few of the rest of us, produced the business plan. And the leader company gave the project €125,000. That was the start of the boat. And we went to tender for the boat, and an Estonian company won the tender. And the boat with the trailer cost €173,000. So they're quickly on the maths, we realised we're a bit of a shortfall on that. So what do? We applied to the lottery, sports capital. Source of funding number 2 for Castlepollard. I'm sure you've done it already several times. Sports capital grants. I think the last deadline was last September, October, so you're probably going to be announcements coming up now before June or whatever. And then there'll be another round of it probably later in the year, early next year, for sports capital grants. So again, sports activities, 39,000 we got from the sports from the lottery for the same project. Deficit, what is it, about 17 or 18, still short. Dorothy said, why can't the Midlands correspondent shave his head? And I'll shave mine. And Alan shaved his, and Alan, the Farrell, the publican in Lanesborough, shaved his, and Philip, the chef, shaved his, and then we painted it pink. And Joy down there had a part in that as well. And we raised the €18,000 and we bought the boat. And Dorothy says, now what do we do? And we said, Dorothy, now the work's beginning. Now the hard work's beginning. Because if we have the boat, we could operate it on a voluntary basis, and it would be going out when people are free to go out. But we all live busy lives. And Dorothy said, no, we want this to be on a full-time capacity as much as possible anyway. So we went to people called Pubble, who run the Community Services Programme, CSP, I'm sure there's a CSP in Castlepollard, probably the Hall, or somebody nearby has it. It's a bit like FAW CE schemes. You all know the CE schemes, guys who do the work in the community. Well, CSP is a little bit like that. And we went and we begged and made a case for the appointment of a manager and 4 workers, actually 3 workers initially, for the boat. And we started the process. Alan Brawley started training skippers, and we appointed 3 skippers and 2 people to assist in getting people on and off the boat. And within a period of, I suppose, 3 years, maybe 4, we were all ready to go, and then what happened? COVID. COVID again. And the boat was moored and locked up for a while. But you know what? We got through it. There were good supports during COVID. And although we intended that boat could take, I think, probably 5 wheelchairs with a push, we said, okay, we'll go 2 wheelchairs. Lots of social distancing on 2 wheelchairs and front and back. And we got the boat out for the best part of the year. And we got support with it again. And then Dorothy came back again and she said, I don't like this business of dressing and changing at the side of the road, side of the river. We need a dressing room now. We need a place where we can get ready to go on the boat. We need a place where we can tuck in and tuck out, and where we can dry ourselves and get our coat and everything else. So that led us to the next project, and I'm going to show that to you after a while. So to go back to the start of the story, the motivation was what? Dorothy felt there was inequality here. Dorothy felt that her disability was being taken advantage of, that her ability was being ignored. She was well capable of rolling on and off the boat, but nobody made a boat she could roll on and off. That was her personal motivation. What was my motivation? I came from Lanesborough, which was a great fishing town. It's gone down because of various reasons over the years for fishing, and I said I wanted to see people come back into the town. So my motivation was to see people coming back into the town. Alan Farrell, the publican, had a very straightforward motivation. He wanted people at the bar, as much as possible. He knew all the fishermen from the past. They were there. He wanted to see them there. Philip on the committee, he's a chef. He wanted to see people at the counter looking for dinner. and all of our committee, all around the table, we all had different motivations. But to make the project work, you must have strong personal motivation. Don't come into the committee or come into the organisation with a half-hearted view, actually we might be able to do something. Don't. If you have a dream, you have a vision, and you feel strongly about it, this is your opportunity to do it. If Dorothy can do it, anybody can do it. Dorothy has proven that you can do it. But you must have strong motivation. When you say, I'm old now, I'm 80 or 90 years, what about your grandkids? What are they going to do in Castlepollard? What type of facilities do they need in the future? What type of a town would you like to see them growing up in? Would you like to see them going away and coming back at some stage? Would you like to see another Mergon up the road or somebody else in business around the corner? So that's my first point, motivation. And then my second point is playing to your strengths. So I'm going to show you a second video, which kind of puts the boat into context in terms of our town and our village. Not unlike what you have, because I drove across tonight through Cool. It was cool and cool, is that a bad joke, isn't it? And I thought, firstly and foremost, I have to be honest, this is my third book. My first book was about Paul John Carthy, so I thought of John Carthy coming over tonight, and cool, and I thought of Dr. Cullen and his sister Dinah, who worked with me in RTE, and I thought of the inquiry and all of that time. But I also thought of Bordnamona and the history of Bordnamona, which is a little bit like, quite similar to what my town's history was. So again, you might say, what's this about? Well, this is again, for a project like Dorothy's fits into the overall plan. What does it mean? What could it do? What sort of motivation would it provide? So we might have a little look at this one to see if you can see any similarities.
It was a newspaper advertisement like this that brought people from all over the country to come to live and to work in Bordnamona, here in Ballyleague and Lanesborough in the 1950s and 60s. The ad offered a new beginning and a working wage for hundreds of men and women, and when they arrived, they lived here, initially in the billets and the new residential camps set up at Clontuscan. For the next 6 decades, they harvested the peat and the turf from these bogs to help to meet the energy demands of a nation. They worked hard, they set up new families here and settled down in the Bordnamona estates, and the money they earned helped to educate their children and build a new community. Everyone who worked for Bordnamona knew that the time would come when the argument in favour of reducing carbon emissions on this earth would outweigh the economic benefits of burning turf and peat. But they were promised a period of just transition to help adapt and to make that change. That transition was supposed to mean a gradual reduction of peat burning at this power station and a move to using biomass over a 10-year period. But legal moves reduced that transition period from 10 years to 10 months, and hundreds of local workers were presented with the option of taking early redundancy. Some of those leaving were approaching retirement age, but many were still in their 40s and 50s, and that's where the new Lochgree Access for All community project came in.
That's Dorothy's new dressing room.
To build a new National Waterways Recreational Centre at the quayside in Ballyleague, and help re-employ those leaving the bog in the outdoor recreational tourism business. With the help of Roscommon County Council and Leader, a community tourism business was set up, a huge investment put in the area's finest natural resource, fishing on Loch Green, that is today attracting more than 10,000 visitors per year to the community for festivals and events, and helping to create jobs both directly and indirectly. The project has been supported by the government's Just Transition Fund, Inland Fisheries Ireland, and private industry, and the future is bright. Rural tourism is the future for our community. Ballyleague is proud of its place and its past, but it looks ahead now with optimism and a new hope as we rewrite its future, a future we can all look forward to.
So that's I suppose the master plan then the boat kind of fits into very, very neatly. I also have to look at the video, because that's Harry the dog doing the voiceover. You're Harry. He's a dog. He came down here to half retire, and he ended up being a skipper on the boat. So he was caught to do the voice as well, and Harry talks about it with great passion. But you can see so you see where one project now fits into a kind of a plan for an area, for a town. And I was delighted this time when I came in, there's a plan here. The 5-year action plan ensures that Castlepollard is ready to avail of future investment opportunities. And then I was delighted here that St. Peter's was mentioned. I was delighted here about the park. So you have a plan. You have a few projects started. I was I was admiring the walkway out the road to Tullinally, and you already started working on projects there. So a night like tonight is when you can kind of sit back and say, well, what do we do next? So when I stop talking in about another 8 or 9 or 10 minutes, you're going to have to do a bit of work with me in terms of identifying those projects. But the plan is important, crucially important for you and for your area. And if the 5 years is up, guys, we need to do a new one. We need to relook at it in the future and start again and look at the needs, because the needs of the community change all the time. We haven't got a perfect town or village. We have still no hotel in Lanesborough Valley League. You've still just the 3 pubs. We have lots of issues. Lots of board and home workers haven't got jobs. Some of them have got jobs. That centre now employs 10 people. There's a manager and 9 workers. We now have 3 access boats. Today the manager was up in Newry buying a 4th boat. All of our boats are wheelchair accessible. And during the winter, they'll start teaching people how to power boats, classes. They'll do a bit of fishing. They'll service the engines. They'll work on the centre, the new centre. And then come the summer again, they'll be flying. Last year, the centre had 5,500 visitors from every county in Ireland. So we made a name for ourselves because of the style of the boat and the design of the boat. But it's open to everybody. It's open to everybody, people as well. So now we have a new centre to work on, a new centre of activity and something positive. Pádraig Dooney works on the boat. Pádraig is a former board and home worker. So Pádraig's proof that the project works. It does what it says on the tin. It provided alternative employment for board and home workers. It won't suit everybody, but it might suit the next generation in some cases as well. You must also plan as a community to do that in the future. If you want, if you don't want to, fine. They'll work in Mullingar, Dublin, UK, France and Australia. That's up to you. If you want to do that, that's fine. But if you want to give people an option, particularly skilled workers and semi-skilled workers, then maybe you should consider that tonight and in the future coming weeks about opportunities to create employment in your own local area. And that means training and upskilling and stuff like that. So as I say, I'm not here to kind of patronise people or to kind of lecture you tonight, but I'm here to give a little flavour of maybe the way you might go about doing something. And it's a nice cue probably for the 3rd video, Ciaran, because it probably shows how one thing leads to another and how that's going to be the way in Castlepollard as well. Because first we had a problem, board and home closing, then we had a lady with a plan to create a tourism project, but then we wanted an employment project, and maybe an employment project that went a little bit further. So this is Mark's story, and this tells you how you might get a little bit of an extra dividend out of your community project if you design it in the right way. So this is Mark's story.
I was in an accident when I was just 24. Since then, I've been paralysed from my chest down. Being paralysed causes uncontrollable spasms in my legs and my lower back. Getting these spasms is just one part of my disability, and to be quite honest, it's the worst. The worst part of my disability. I can't control them, or at least I couldn't. But working with Mullooly Access for means that I can get out on the boat quite a bit. I love the boat and the water. It has an amazing therapeutic effect on me. The first time I went on the boat, I noticed that my spasms stopped, just disappeared. But I didn't really put it down to the boat at first. I couldn't explain it. But do you know what? After the 2nd or 3rd trip, I realised that I wasn't getting spasms while I was on the boat. It might be something to do with the water, the tranquility, or maybe the adventure of it all. Whatever it is, it works. And I love being on the boat now more than ever before.
My name is Ciaran, and I'm looking forward to welcoming you to Mullooly Access Pro.
So that's Mark. That's probably my motivation now for being in the project at the moment. That guy. Because he had given up on life. He had a car accident, he had a relationship split up as well, and he was in a really bad place. And he came into us to an interview one day and he said, just give me a chance to get a job again. He was a bit chippy, worked for General Construction over Longford, Pat Fay, worked from Mullooly in Castlepollard, great chippy, but he couldn't do that anymore. And but he wanted to get out there and do something meaningful. And we gave him half a chance, and he turned it into he's an ambassador now. He's there, he meets people, when people come in for a corporate or he's there and say, how are you getting on, what happened to you? You know, and he speaks to people with disability, first and foremostly at the centre, not us. He finds out what the story is, what do you want from us today, how can we help? And he's the front door. And that's my motivation to be here, back to motivations again. That's why he's here. So he's one of manager and 10 workers that are there. But in the community then, we also looked at further issues and further demands and further requirements, as you're going to do tonight in a little while, when we get going with the pieces of paper on the borough. And we're going to ask each other, what do we need, Castlepollard? Now, water seems to me to be a fairly popular ingredient around here as well, isn't it? I've seen at least 1 or 2 lakes in my travels up and down these roads. Even if it was beating the speed limit for the RT News at 6 o'clock, I saw lots of them on my time. The next video will show you a little bit, I suppose, of some of the things we have developed directly arising from the boat. This promenade was probably the next project came along. You'll see later on tonight, in fact, we skip on maybe Siobhan to sorry for doing this to you, the slides. We'll show you the old promenade first. It's at the end. So when the boat was being started, there we go. That was our old riverbank in Ballyleague, on the Roscommon side of the bridge. And it served us well. It was there from 1960, I'd say. And why had the fences fallen into the water? Because they tied the cruisers to the fences for 20 or 30 years. And it was, it was fine. We were glad they did tie the cruisers. And we were glad they put up. And they came up to town and spent their money. We used to say a pike a pint, we used to say in the locker arms once upon a time. And if Siobhan was on to the next slide, you'll see what we've done with the promenade now. This is the new promenade that was taken on. Roscommon County Council were the drivers on this. They said there was an opportunity to fund it under a regeneration programme. About 400,000 I think was spent on it. And there was a False Ireland grant involved in it as well. And if we go back to the video now, you'll see, I suppose, the full extent of it, and how it, and I'll talk my way through this one, how it, I suppose, has changed the face of our town. So just north of that bridge, there at the top of the screen is where the boathouse is for the new boat. It was on the right as we passed there. That's the river, that's the N63 going from left where Longford, right into Roscommon across there. And this is the new stretch of promenade, we call it. Very posh, we call it promenade. It used to be riverbank once, now it's promenade. Now, I live around here, and I can tell you that every day between 300 and 400 people walk that promenade, or run on that promenade. And they come out from Roscommon town, they come out from Longford, and they're there in the morning at 6:30. And there's a loop you can do, go all the way around, and it's lit, very well lit and organised. So in its own right, I suppose, not only has it improved for the locals, but it's actually improved for visitors as well. So it's bringing a few more people to the town. It's attracting more people. The tennis courts there are popular. The cruise, we did a bit of work on the marinas, but we've added a few more spaces to the marina. And I suppose a whole lot has cost about 450. It looks fabulous tonight. It was muck today. like the rest of us, the weather makes our pictures look well. It looks like this all the time. This is coming down from Athlone into Lanesborough. And again, the marina takes about 40 boats. That one takes about 40 boats. That new promenade is also the location used for a triathlon. They run up and down it every summer. They swim under that bridge. We now have a triathlon coming to the town once a year. It's a festival. Is there a festival here once a year in Castlepollard? You need a festival once a year. It's time we had a festival committee. You need to start a festival committee. Have we got one? We have? Good. Paddy's Day Parade is a good start, but we need another one later in the year. Bring in the others around the country to see how nice, how beautiful the area is, and maybe take advantage of it. Because at the end of the day, we know we're not Killarney, and we admit it. But we do think we have a beautiful part of the country, and we think it's worth investing in, and we think it's worth putting together. So I'll stop that video at that point and I'll go to my kind of concluding comments. The future is now is the name of the book. I brought a few tonight. I'm going to sell them to you later on if you want them. Tenner a head, salesman I am. Even bought the card machine. That's how keen I was. But the book, I suppose, people said, what do you call the title? The future is now. What's that about? But I suppose people said, when I was working with the people in Lanesborough for the last 20 years, we said, down the road we know the harvesting is going to come to an end. We're not stupid. The turf ended peat will end. We know it's going to come to an end. And people used to say, we have approximately 10 to 15 years of transition. There's going to be a period of transition because the Germans have it, they have 24 years to close the coal mines, we're going to have it. Then, so we always said, in the future, we will be retraining, we'll be looking at tourism, we'll be looking at other things. We always said that. And we'll start, the next generation will get a chance to do it. And then overnight, for a variety of reasons, some of them legal, in terms of court cases and things, our power station's closed and we're out of business in 24 months. And then the future was now. And that's what the book is about. Embracing the challenges that were supposed to be down the road, embracing them now, embracing them in a hurry. The last chapter in the book, in particular the one I want everyone to read if they can tonight, if they get a chance. It talks about dealing with that situation and starting again. Starting to evaluate what you have going in your community and make the most of it. Starting up fresh, coming up with new ideas, working with your friend next door, collaboration with your groups. Listen, I'm from a small rural town. We kill each other in football. We give out about each other, morning, noon and night. But, and particularly because we have two counties, remember, Lanesborough and Longford and Roscommon, Ballyleague, Roscommon. So they kill each other. And, you know, we're also up over the bridge saying, how did they get that money for that bridge? How did they get that paid for? But the combined effort of the two of them means I think we have a very fine village and town as a result of it. And I encourage you as well to come forward and put aside bias or individual things about people you don't know or you don't care or you don't like them or something. Put aside all that stuff for the betterment of your area and say to yourself, I'm going to make a difference here. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to bring some new people in here. And you might be saying, I'm going to be in community development, I'm not going to be chairman, I'm not going to be secretary. But I might do one thing in the year, one project in the year, or I might make one change to my property or my business that will bring in some more people during the year, and I might change the face of the town. So in the next 15 minutes, we're going to have a little bit of a workshop. I want everybody to stay where they are. You're all at tables. We have paper going out to you, I think. And I want each table to have a little chat for 10 or 15 minutes and just write down the top 10 new things you'd like to see in Castlepollard and surrounding area. The next top 10, each table will have 15 minutes. At the end of that, I'm going to ask one person at the table, appoint your spokesperson, one person just to tell me, and we'll list them on the board here. And not only will we list them on the board, but then we look at them individually and we'll say, this is the starting block. So if you say to me, we want a swimming pool, hopefully you won't, but if someone said you want a swimming pool, we'll say, where will we get the grant here? We'll say, dash sports capital grant. Okay? And we'll start the process tonight. We'll start the process tonight of the thought process, at least, of this idea and where we might go and get them. And I want everybody to be imaginative and I want everybody to go a little bit outside, I know that terrible phrase, outside the box. Think of something different. You know the guy in Carrick and Shannon who had that, or Leitrim, who had the St. Patrick's Day parade going the wrong way. Remember that guy? Think of something different, something unusual. Dorothy that's the only licensed boat in Britain or Ireland. Passenger boat, the only one. You might have other boats that bring wheelchairs, but it's not licensed to carry people. It doesn't have a vessel, doesn't have a professional staff and training staff to go with it. So think of something that's unique, maybe, to Castlepollard. Try and think of something in this area that you have that nobody else has, and you're not making use of it. And I am personally very excited about the St. Peter's project. I agree with your chair that it's going to be complicated to get there, but I think when you get there, I think it'll be fabulous. I think the site is brilliant, the space is brilliant, it's so close to the town. I've driven around that marvellous house over there as well, and I think it'll be great. But there's lots of other stuff in the area I'm sure that you're aware of that I'm not aware of, in terms of projects and bits and pieces. So I want you to spend, we spend 10 minutes, 15 max, and then we're going to put them up on the board here. We'll write them all out. This will be tonight's homework for myself and Siobhan here. And we'll kickstart each of them. First we'll ask, has it been started? If it's been started, we'll just take note and we'll move on. We'll try and think of new ones, as people they haven't heard of before. And when the pens and papers are going out, we'll show one more video, Siobhan, just try and give them a little bit more enthusiasm going into it. I think I have one left, haven't I? Yeah, so this is the most recent part of Dorothy's dream. This is the remainder of the riverbank beside the boat. This is called the Outdoor Recreation Infrastructure Scheme, ORIS is the name of this one. So Dorothy said she wanted, when you're hanging around waiting for the boat, what do you do? She said, there's nothing to do, except you need a coffee shop, you need a restaurant, and then she said, let's add some more. So she wants you to sit there beside the river, and she wanted our environmental team to come up and get involved. Delighted to say a lady from Mullingar was involved in this. Isabella Donnelly, an ecologist, designed most of this. Hope you know Isabella. Terrific person. She came down and she looked at the layout of these trees and the new hedges that are put in. And we walked up and down that park every day for about, I'd say about a month, each side of the bridge, and decided what would be added. She said, you have to have tunnel, at least one tunnel, more flowers, an opportunity to put in the jetty. That embankment down the end is new as well. And again, something for people to do, kids to play with and hang around. You probably have this in your park already, Chairman, have you?
Yes.
It's in the plans anyway, it's in the plans.
If it's not, it should be.
No, it's not, it should be, exactly. There's Dorothy's favourite place. You'll find her there any summer day sitting there outside the centre having her coffee. And there's the boat relaxing today. So the price of this one was, I think the grant from Outdoor Recreation was €200,000. And again, there's a little bit of pain involved. Locally, you do have to raise money. I'm not saying you have to shave your head or get it painted or whatever that, but you have to do something. And I suppose it's important because you're making a contribution. They want to know you're serious about it. They want to know you want to get involved too. So that's one of the art pieces at the far end. That's the centre again. And there are ways and means, as I say, of raising money with these. And I'm going to come back to those in a while and give you a few ideas before we finish as well. So has everybody got pen and a piece of paper? Okay, I'm going to start the clock. And we're going to say 15 minutes. It's now 2 minutes past 8. And at 70 minutes past 8, we'll go and hear about you. Heard enough from me. We're going to hear from you next. Now, you know the process in terms of a spokesperson at the table. If you don't get a volunteer, you volunteer the person next to you. That's the way it works in community development. You volunteer them. You know the biggest threat when you miss a meeting in community development, you'll always get a job if you're not there. So pick a spokesperson, please, as well.
Well, how am I doing? Make it longer. Well, short, short degrees. made a huge difference. You can't, if you could go the whole way out to Kiltoon and then do a ring through Kiltoon and back into the Johnny Corrigan's garage, as we call it, filling station. Like, again, James said, there's only a few small little bit of intricacies in the middle. You know, I'm sure they could be resolved. Come out, if you wanted to spend a weekend or a month keep it good, eh? Oh, Jesus. Came to the book and go. You know what I mean? Whatever you like to call it, would probably have a far greater chance of success with HSE in conjunction and supported by HSE. But at the minute, Sinners are there and not looking at any music going out there. You know, Revitalize it, regenerate it, whatever you no. That's only two. Where are we going to get the next one? 10. Now you're talking. If we connected it up to between me down and the left triangle, could be developed with
Yes, absolutely. Look at Rosford has ideas. That's what it's all about.
One of the islands, you know. Yeah. It does, yes. Yes. Not too fast. There is the funny thing. At the time when you think it should be flooded, it's low. And then when it should be high, it's the other way around. It always goes in reverse. Whether it's related to any or what, something, and it's so delicate to get the right level of problem. Environmental people, scale or something.
I know you're going to retaliate the next time I walk into the office on the square and say, no.
Okay, we're nearly there. 60 seconds left. So if you haven't got to number 10, let's have our last couple. 1 to 10 we're going to ask you. 1 to 10. Not necessarily in priority otherwise, by the way. They don't have to be 1 is my top priority. I should have said that. But 1 to 10. Okay, we're on the countdown. 30 seconds left. And we got the list. Everyone got the list finished? Okie doke, ready to go. So we're going to spend, what is it now, about 20 past 8. So we'll spend the next 20 minutes and we'll all be gone home at 8:45. All out the door at 8:45, all finished. Out to the bar to support your hotel. A couple of plugs and a bit of light up on the book, I mentioned it. I worked for a man called Eugene McGee, a great football manager in his day, and he sent me to cover Arva District Court. It's a bit like Castlepollard District Court. I covered Castlepollard District Court once or twice as well. And I used to, after the first month I said to him, I think this is a cod, Eugene. Why are you sending me back every month? It's the same people I see every month. The same man has no tax on the tractor this month as had tax on the tractor last month. And there was a lovely judge called Don McArdle, and he was very nice to them. I let them all off. Nobody ever really did much happen to them. But Eugene summed it up best. He said, young Mullooly says, you know nothing about local newspapers. Is half the people in the community talk to their neighbour every week. Half them. And the other half will talk about their neighbours for the week. So if they didn't see the picture in the paper and their name, how would they talk about them? That was his theory with regard to doing it. In terms of chairpersons, I know you have a very fine chairperson here, but I want to ensure he doesn't apply the rule of D, the 3 Ds. You know the rule of 3 Ds? Please tell me he's not going to operate on the rule. Chairman, you're not going to operate on the rule of 3 Ds. What's the rule of 3 Ds? It's a bad rule. The chairperson who dictates, delegates, and disappears. Because he got way to work someone else to do. We're not going to allow any of that tonight, absolutely not. I'm going to work around on the tables beside me here to start off. So there's 2 here we'll get shoot into straight away. And the way it is, Siobhan's going to put them up on the board. You'll see them going up here. And we'll try and take one by one. When repetition happens, we'll jump on, so don't take offenders. So take table 1. And I'll give you the mic.
Right, thank you. Right. Some of us are from Cool, some of us from near Milltown, and so none of us Castlepollard, but hey-ho. We'd like to see Cool an environmental training centre at Coolua. That's for school children, but also up to adult retrainers. A social hub centre in Cool on the old tennis courts.
So 1 was the training centre, 2 is the
Social hub.
What's the
3,
social hub? What's the social hub?
well, it's an old tennis court. And we'd like to sort of have it as like a sort of social hub with a nice gazebo, and so people can collect and have a cup of tea.
Recreation.
Recreation.
Okay, social hub is the 2, go on.
Right, these for people, they've got grand gym, but it's not accessible, so they like accessibility to community facilities.
At the gym, is it?
Yeah, they've got a gym. But it's upstairs.
Where's the gym?
Not wheelchair
In Cool.
No, not in Cool.
Yeah. So what about proper ramps and proper access areas?
Wheelchair lift.
Proper access, good stuff.
Community buildings to have renewable energy, feeling that 1, it will be saving money for the community, but also for the rest of us, since we'll be able to see them being installed, learn about them, be encouraged to have them ourselves.
Very good. This is started. We talk about SEC after a while. SEC, that's been touched on here already. Go ahead.
A local artisans market for all the various producers of crafts, foods,
Is
etc.
there no market in Castlepollard?
There's one in Collins Town. Yes.
Anything Collinstown can do, we can do better.
No, no.
Specialist fishing platforms around on the Ely River or around Derivara for people with disabilities, etc. But they have to be accessible. I have seen them in my life where the fishing platforms are glorious, but they're across 2 fields from parking.
Number 7. In at number 7.
A walking track around Derivara Lake again. Not anywhere near as posh as your promenade. Just a track that people can walk as much as possible around the lake.
And we got to 8.
With 8, we got to like a peak history experience on the on the bottom, where people could come and have a go with and try to cut the peat and that, just rather than just a museum, a history experience.
Okay. Right. I'm going to deal with this one very quickly, and this is to kind of kick us off in terms of ideas. And again, I'm not an expert on this, but these are my thoughts in terms of funding this project and starting them. So, what did I tell you in the first phase? We must complete a feasibility study on our project. There's no point saying, I think it's a great idea. I think they'll go out and they'll walk across that field. I think you've got to do your background work, your research. So that's my opening point to all. How will we get a feasibility study done? Westmeath Community Development new leader program is opening. Noel will probably tell me in the next 6 months, I'd say. They will have money for feasibility studies. In you go into Mullingar, into the office of Mullingar, ask them for funding to support a feasibility study on these ideas. If you were looking for funds tomorrow, where would you get it? The Environmental Training Centre, I most certainly think would be a leader project. They love eco projects. I think it wouldn't be a problem. The social hub, if it's recreation, outdoor recreation, covers a couple of those actually. There's a scheme called ORIS, Outdoor Recreation Infrastructure Scheme, run by the County Council. So this time you go knocking on the door of the County Council. They submit a list every year of about 4 or 5 projects to the department, and they pick them. And you get in there, so that will work there. Renewable energy, we talked about SEC. So this has started here. I'm told there is an SEC plan. There's a plan produced by a consultant with the support of the community. You had a good meeting. And the next step, I presume, is to start projects on the list. So under funding, I'd say SEC to start that one there. The artisan market is, again, that's a leader project, without a doubt, in the world. We don't have to be opposition to Collinstown. We can have it on a different day. We can tweak it around, share. The fishing platforms is accessible. Here we go. Now, I start a job on Monday in Longford County Council called a EU Just Transition Fund Tourism. And Amy O'Connor from Athlone started a job in Westmeath doing the same. And Amy was in Mullingar last night. Ask Amy to come to Mullingar. There is funding for accessible tourism.
Right.
There is funding. It's available. In a project like that, you have to remember one other thing. During the feasibility study, people might ask, do we need planning permission? Do we need planning permission? That's the one, obviously, it's going to have to be looked at in the feasibility study, so it would arise. But the funding is there for it. The walking track around Derivara is in the same place. The Peak experience is also EU Just Transition funding. There are at least 4 projects. County Offaly have at least 3 of them. The old Bora Park Works down Offaly is being targeted as a museum for this. And everyone else, like Lanesborough, is trying to get in on the act. But Bora ahead of us at the moment. So they'll have the bagger in there, they'll have the drain machine, they'll have all the old gear up in the bog. They'll have them in there, that's the big one. But you should have, you saw our billets, our little old huts up on the video. I think it's a shame that we haven't got those turned into a heritage centre. Some really, really good ideas. Let's go to the next table here.
Well, first of all, can I congratulate everyone that put us together here tonight, and it's fantastic to see you here, Mr. Mullooly, as well. It's hopefully the start of something really great for the Hidden Ireland in North Westmeath. As you know, I'm very heavily involved in the tourism area, and rural tourism is what hits me, is where we can make huge progress here. We can have our festivals, as you have said. We already, as a hurling club, have been down to see your walking loop in Ballyleek. And
number 1 is a festival, is it?
It's one of the best that we have seen. We have been round, I'd say, all of Leinster looking for the ideal walking loop, and we are very impressed with maybe having solar lighting on the little poles all around, the same as you have down there. So from that point of view, we have a huge amount going for us. You opened up your address here tonight by saying to us, play to your strengths. What are our strengths? The hotel is number 1, Tullynally is number 2, 4 is number 3. Unbelievable. Our table are very strongly of the opinion that we should have, that the big thing in tourism for the off months from October to March in rural Ireland, particularly in the west of Ireland, is walking and bicycle riding. We would like to put forward the proposal for a bicycle riding circuit for Collinstown, for Loughlane, or for Darravara. We have 2 wonderful lakes here, ideally suitable for that type of tourism. Also in relation to the festival, we had a terrific festival here for very many years. We had carnivals here in Castlepollard, and they all just died off in the 80s and the 90s, and we think that's a wonderful idea of yours in relation to the festivals. So what have we got going for us in Castlepollard that other areas have got going? So taking best practice, the best festival in the country, and we all know is the Rose of Tralee. The second one is Mary from Dunlow. What have they got in common? They have a song to promote them. And that's where the song The Rose of Tralee, that gave John Burns, old John Burns, Lord have mercy on him, gave him the idea, who owns the Brandon Hotel, to start up a festival because he had a hotel and he wanted to keep the season extended for the last week in August every year. What have we got here in Castlepollard? We have 3 songs. We have one of the most beautiful songs ever written by Thomas Moore called Believe Me of All Those Endearing Young Charms. That's one I strongly would suggest because it's quality, and why? It was on John McCormack's first album when he made the record. And remember, John McCormack is from Westmeath. John McCormack was the first million-selling artist in the world of music in 1928. You can imagine how many record players there were anywhere in 1928. That's the first song. The second song is The Garden Where the British Grow. It's just down the road, the Dublin Road. And the third song was a lady that was in the garden of the British Grove when Thomas Patterson looked across the wall and he saw this Bridget Donoghue. But the real line in the song was Bridget, I don't know who. But of course the local changed it to Bridget Donoghue. So there are 3 songs that are linked to Castlepollard and would be ideal. And as you know, if anyone wants to go along on any committee, wherever it is, I record a response to Nan and Cullen.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Good stuff, well done. I'm going to touch on a couple of them there. The walking tracks around Darravara, the Pete experience, the festival, and I suppose the principle. The festivals are not strictly speaking, I think Fáilte Ireland are doing them, will fund them. Fáilte Ireland centrally will fund them. Up to, I think, if you're up to 5,000 people, you can apply to Fáilte Ireland in Mullingar. They have an office there, you know where Penny's used to be, there someplace. And they will fund it. If it was a bigger, larger international festival, so it would be in the years to come, you could also go back to Fáilte Ireland to try and start it. Walking and bicycle trails, we're back to Leader, and we're back to the Outdoor Recreation Infrastructure Scheme. And I love the idea of the music, I love the idea of the themes, and I'm trying to think of Tullynally Castle in the summer with the sun shining and the marquee up, and the music, the song contest taking place. There used to be a John McCormack song contest once in Athlone for a number of years as well. And the other thing about Tullynally Castle, I don't know who owns it or who's involved anymore, but I know of other castles in the west where they have murder mystery weekends, and they bring people down, and it's a business opportunity for people. You put them up for the weekend, 10 people stay in the castle, and somebody, they don't die really, by the way. That's the good news. What's the chance to do it? So a couple of great ideas there.
Go ahead, same table.
One point we had was charging station for Castlepollard. That's certainly something which would kind of attract people to stop here and have a coffee.
Very good.
So another one we had is community gardens for my wife. If she wants to explain it more, or it's probably self-explanatory.
Allotments or allotments? Excellent.
Then we have frequent public transport to Mullingar. I don't know, I've been living in Castlepollard, I moved to Collinstown, so I don't know what the frequency is at the moment, but I believe there's maybe some improvement
Is there a
possible.
local link? No.
Yes, there is
Okay,
there is
so-
Twice a day.
there is a local link, and there is a bus starting in the next few months that will travel through Mullingar. So it's going to be
More regular.
Warwick. So that was another project that we changed down.
Good man.
Okay, and the last one is the cycling track idea, which is already on the list. So.
Looking like number one now, the cycling tracks, they're doing well. Somebody else, is there? Take next table, yeah, next table. We're going to speed through those. I'll try and help you in terms of the funding. The last one, the EV, I hope it's not, there's a couple of sources for the EV charging ones. Believe it or not, EU Just Transition is one of them as well. We've applied for it up in my neck of the woods, two locations in the town, and they'll be put in by the company. They look after the land, they maintain them, they put it after here. There's no contribution from the local community. So EU Just Transition again is probably the best. The people responsible, who do you contact? The EMRA, Eastern Midlands Regional Authority. Noel probably has a contact with them someplace. EMRA are the people.
We just actually we were told during the week that I want to put them in behind the library.
Right, so who's that? Who's in that?
Which one is that?
Climate change.
Climate change, that's Westmeath County Council then?
Yeah.
That's it, excellent, very good.
3 units now.
Now, strictly speaking, I read the guidelines for the Westmeath County Council and the Longford County Council climate one. The garden allotments would be eligible under that as well. Garden allotments would be eligible. So again, Westmeath County Council Climate Fund, I think it's called, isn't it? And the public transport in Mullingar, go for it. The more the merrier. For 60 years, Lanesborough had one bus going through at 8:30 in the morning to Galway, went into Roscommon, Longford to Roscommon at 8:30 in the morning for 60 years. That was it. It came back at 6:30 in the evening. I'm going to say this now, whether people like it or not. We were delighted to welcome 80 members of the Ukrainian community to our town. They moved into a nursing home, and all of a sudden now we have 8 buses a day. And I think it's bloody brilliant. They go from 9 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night, and my son calls them a drink link, which is even worse. But so go for it. The more the merrier. Next table.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate the group for organising the next meeting. I think it's a great idea, giving people a time to express their views on the area. We would like to see the hub here expanded, maybe taking in more of the rural area, taking in for Collinstown, Fenay, that particular region, because it's all part of North West Meath, which we belong to here. Another idea was the opening of the old Cavan Road. The old main Cavan Road goes across through Ballymanus, right across into Wheel, through on that part of the country. And it would be a fantastic idea to open something like that. The Lough Lane 4 walkway to be expanded. It is already a fantastic walkway and well attended, but we could expand it and make it much more better. An annual field day would be something to look forward to, that the people could look forward to on an annual basis. It doesn't matter what it is, but it gets the crowd in.
Surely we have a community fete every year in Castlepollard. Maybe G8 Club or something, or is it? You're probably not a multi-event.
Yeah. Now we're very lucky in this area. We have Tullinally, which is a fantastic amenity. We have 4, and we have Mullooly. Now Mullooly is a forest with walkways through it of different durations, and it's attracting approximately 650,000 patrons per year, which is a fair large number. Now the St Patrick's Day Parade does a great job here in Castlepollard. It's an annual event as well.
It was covered in RT several times.
Yeah, that's right. And maybe they could improve the floats, because the floats are the attraction on the day. And someone has proposed a regatta on the lakes. We have 3 or 4 good lakes in the surrounding areas, and there's plenty of room for regattas there, which would be another annual event.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'll go back on them. The regatta on the lakes, go to the last one. The Waterways Ireland sponsorship fund is now open. Waterways Ireland will support projects which celebrate the water as a resource in your area. I think the deadline is the end of the month, 29th of January. Go to the Waterways Ireland website. You'll probably get 800 or 1,000 euros straight away off them if you're celebrating a lake and you're celebrating the regatta. The Paddy's Day Parade, I think they're a source of great entertainment locally. In terms of your idea, if you want to improve it, you start off by getting your float into it next. You improve you get in there with your own float and bring the standard up to you, and everyone else will go up as well. Do as I say and say as I do is the sort of mission on it too. And the annual field day is a great idea, and I know some groups do them and they're limited, so maybe we could spread it out a bit to include different sports. We get tired of the same thing every year. In terms of funding for it, I'm stuck on that one. No one might help me there, someone else might help me on that one. I'll tell you where you get it, and there's some of them here tonight. There is municipal funding available to every municipal area, is there not, in Westmeath County Council? Unless I'm mistaken, it is at the discretion of the elected members. Which means
very interesting.
Which is very interesting. And I won't put them on the spot here, but I know in my county, in Ballyleague, it's at the discretion of 6 councillors, and they have to divvy out €80,000. And they give out about 1,000, 1,200, 800, 1,000, 2,000 if it's a good project. And there's very little criteria. Very little criteria. So it's ideal for the community faith. Apply to your county councillors. It'll be done before the elections, I think, as well, actually, this year. So apply to your county councillors on that one. Next table.
We're covering Cool and Castlepollard and Delvin, so extended areas. We had an inventory kind of the vacant business spaces in those areas, and an encouragement for kind of necessity shops to open, because especially for older people that would have to travel into Mullingar and other towns to get their basics or to get other people to do them for them. So that was really important. We had community gardens on allotments as well.
Just on the first one, stop me for a second. So you think there are probably services that can be available or are available already, say, in your audit in Cool or in Delvin? I'm just picking up on that. I don't really understand it. You're trying to do an audit, is it?
Kind of, yeah, an audit of the vacant spaces, so there'd be no drapery or yeah, so for kind of basics, for clothes for people, yeah.
So if we found out, say, there was business for a cobbler or a tailor or something, you would then try and attract somebody. Would that be the next step, to try and attract somebody?
Yeah, into the kind of many vacant spaces that there are.
What's needed in the village? Very good. Okay. Ladies in particular. And you mean retail off the shelf, or are you talking about stitching and adjustments and all that sort of stuff? Very good. So you know what we're going to say now?
We had 5 at one stage that covered everything.
Yeah, we had Mrs. Lennon and Lane on contract for years. She was fantastic.
Yes.
But you know what we're going to say? We're going to say it's not viable or anymore. So you'd have to go back and, what I said was a business plan. Go back and see, is it viable perhaps with a different business? Could you combine it with something else?
Yes.
It's unlikely. I'm told your newsagent has closed.
Yes.
And, you know, you're not alone. I've gone around the country selling these books, and there's very few newsagents left anymore. The filling stations are the new newsagents. But perhaps there's another business that could have a side room, or that may be able to do a little bit of what you're talking about as well. It's unlikely to be able to run it all together. Our boy had it mind you for years, but that's his work.
Yes, Michael Henry's was there, but that was okay then. Since Castlepollard, I see, and I'm not the only one. We're at the age group, and I'm involved in the leader program since we came from Westmeath. So I was a founder of that. The story is that we need these stuff in Castlepollard.
Yes.
And as they closed, there was nobody to step in on the vacant houses and shops.
And as you speak, you're reminding me of a couple of projects. There are other ways of doing it. In League in County Roscommon, a very small village, there is a training course for seamstresses.
Yes.
And both local ladies and people from around the town, and men, are involved in it, and it's recycling, so it's circular economy. It's recycling, largely, but it's clothes. Might be, you know, the top of the range clothes for you or something else. But they are there, so they are making, stitching, designing, and they have a clothes shop in the town. So it's in a little old church beside the river in League.
Yes, we seem to be like the initiative started off.
That's the Westmoreland Women's Network. Is there a Westmeath Women's Network? Find out. No, is there a Westmeath Women's Network?
Yes.
Well, I think that'd be one. Siobhan, put down the Westmeath Women's Network beside that. Go ahead on your list. Sorry, I stopped you there. Go ahead. But it's a good topic.
Accessible social welfare office, youth and community recreation centre, a cinema or theatre, and a community library box for the extended area.
I would drive them sitting at home in Lanesborough. I tell them, you know, Edgerton has a cinema that costs $6.5 million. And the councillors in Lanesborough give me dirty looks, right? And they say, don't be mentioning that. But they have. Edgerton got a library, $6.5 million. Why didn't our town get it? That's what I had as well. And they told me
mine's more about making use of the tools we already have. So as somebody already
We're not
mentioned,
going to reinvent the wheel. That's good, right? You're dead
no,
right. Let's go what we have.
we're going to try and make use of what we have. So a lot of you already have mentioned the fact that we have great walkways, and some of them have already been done up, like Nancy and Nelly out at 4, and the 4 Abbey. Tully Alley has great walkways, and then Mullooly. So instead of redoing everything already, just link them all up and advertise them really well. Make Castlepollard an area to come to. Tully Alley has a coffee shop there. We should make pop-ups at the other ones. Bring back the Puck Fada. This was a festival that was in Pollard when we were kids, and a lot of you were kids. It was like a 2-day festival that ran.
Where's the Puck Fada? Was it good? Did it work bringing back? Was it bigger crowds?
It brought a few thousand, I'm pretty sure Calvin came to it. Co-op in the Borgamona, like the Downs did, so the Downs grow wonky carrots and odd potatoes, and I can't see why we shouldn't do the same. Zebra crossings from the likes of Farley's to Comiskey's and the corner shop over to the bank. You have dips in the roads, but we have no safe way to cross them. Being more active on social media, TikTok, using our food and coffee because it's really good, but we've no way of properly advertising it. Being more inside of the local paper with the positive stuff that we do, instead of just being there for the GAA. We know we're GAA, but the people aren't in it enough. And making more use of our community spaces. The library has a theatre, but it could be used for vintage movie nights. Everywhere else seems to be showing old movies and charging for them. We could make money doing that. I don't see a local history museum. We could get donations from families that have been here a long time and out as far as Cool and other places. Yeah. But there's no reason for us not to have one. More wheelchair accessible parking throughout the town that actually has space around it, and better access to further education that links up with Calvin. There's no reason to send their people there first.
Thank you very much. Where do I start? Where do I start with Opens? Puck Fada Festival, we're back to the municipal people, I'd say, in terms of supporting that. Zebra crossings are really county council matter. I think Transport for Ireland will be involved in that. So West Being County Council. Now social media, we're all mixed on this. We have mixed views on this. You know, some people think it's absolutely fantastic. It's brilliant, and we know everything we promoted. And then the other people say, well, it's a bubble, and I'm not in that bubble, and I don't like that bubble, and I still don't like it. But I have to say to you, from my experience over the years, that if your town is not in the game in social media, you are not at the races. Simple as that. You have to have a comprehensive, up-to-date website for your town. Have you got that? You have to have an up-to-date, and it's not point putting up a website and leaving it there for 3 months, nothing on it. You have to put a picture on it every day. If you're at the game, you have to put a picture on it every day. New information every day. Same with your social media. Facebook, have we a Facebook page? Twitter, TikTok. If we have them, we need to get them. We definitely you need to be with them. It's not rocket science. With a bit of support to transition your school, kids in your school down here will be able to do some of those pages. And a bit of supervision in school, they'll be well able to put them together. TY. You have to have the TY in the local school here. That's the guys that started off. I just would urge you, you're right, you have to be there. And there is a bit of funding available from where would you get from? Training for those. That's where you get the money. You get money for training for websites. ETB, the Office Meet ETB, and the LEO, the local enterprise office, Charlene, Ciaran. Give her a buzz and ask them about the next bit of training for social media. The wheelchair accessible parking, you're singing my song here. You know, Dorothy and I will be back to you. That has to be addressed. Cannot have that. And access to further education is definitely LWETB.
There could be night classes in the colleges for training in the
social media, updating to try and get more people involved. We definitely need to go after it. This table here, million, have they?
Right, hello. We're probably at a bit of a disadvantage now that we're coming last. An awful lot of the things that we were thinking of are mentioned already, but we'll go ahead anyway. Now, as most of you will know, there is an old road existing around Castlepollard, around the village of Castlepollard. The remains of an old road. It'd be, if it was to be reconvened and done up and properly surfaced, it'd be something like the M50 for walkers. It goes the whole way around the town. covers all roads. I think there's 6 or 7 roads coming into Castlepollard. It brings you around across most of them, and it actually comes to the end of St. Peter's Centre that was mentioned already down the road. And there's a couple of reasons why we feel this would be a good thing. As part of an environmental scheme, the old flora and fauna could be restored, people could be able to have a look at it. It would make a connection back to the park, and Operation Transformation are coming here tomorrow evening as part of a healthy Ireland. A lot of people don't want to run, but they love being able to go for a walk. And this walk would enable you to take any length of a walk that you desired. You could turn back on any of the 7 roads where you felt like it if you had enough done. So that was our first point, and it encompassed the use of St. Peter's as well. Now, when I mentioned St. Peter's, it's a fantastic facility lying down the road there, idle. Now, we're all coming to the stage where there are a lot of us here, the wrong side of 60 and heading in the wrong direction rapidly. We were thinking there's a possibility that an active retirement village could be made in St. Peter's, either a community active retirement village or in conjunction with the HSE. If it was in conjunction with the HSE, it would probably be better.
Now, hold on a second. Audience participation. Hands up, everybody in favour of an active retirement village on the grounds of St. Peter's. You have the wind behind you on this one.
I hope it's just that way.
Go ahead.
Now, an awful lot of people, this would be very handy for people who would say they were coming to an age where they weren't able to look after themselves, they weren't 100% sure, or if they were after going for medical treatment and they weren't fit to mind themselves when they come back, they could go here for a week or a fortnight or a month, see how they got on. There'd be lots of other people of the same age, of the same age, that they could talk to and see how things were going, and they could make a decision on their future. Because everyone, and I would urge anybody here, regardless of tonight, to make a decision on your future before you have to. It's always better to have these things done before you have to.
Next one.
You didn't like that, did you? Right, that's okay. It's a part of an independent living and an integrated finance, and that's number 2. The third one, it wouldn't suit a lot of people. It's a festival and a sporting festival. There's an awful lot of sport around here, and we have an awful lot of facilities. Trina and me up the road come down here and they use the lake for their triathlon or whatever. We have the Festival of the Lakes. Loch Lane is very popular with people for all things. You could have sailing on it, you could have fishing, you could have whatever. Number 4, we were talking about a slipway at Derravara for boats, for people going out on the lake there for fishing, one of the longest lakes in the country, fabulous asset. The next one is, I'm sure you're familiar with the Hinterland Festival in Kells. We could do something with that, not alone for Castlepollard. I think Martin Smith mentioned something earlier about encompassing the whole area of Castlepollard, Cool, Fore and Collinstown. There's a lot of talent in the area and a great history of writing and poetry, and it's something that could be developed into the future. Also, we were thinking of a film or a food festival. Everybody has to eat at some stage, and we are bombarded now with programs about food and what to do with it and how to cook it and whatever. And the humble potato is still very important to our generation, and to any generation probably. And you could have a garden festival with a potato theme to it, and even a cooking competition to take in the whole locality. Now we're not going to. We have no more than that because we spent too long on them.
So thank you. Go to the next table. I'll try and stress a few of those. So the food festival is excellent idea. In terms of an organiser, Ross Westmead Local Enterprise Office have a remit with regard to food producers. So they would work with food producers at the moment in terms of some startup aid. Any food producers in the house? Yeah. Good. So I hope Westmead Leo are helping you already, and if Ciaran is not, then make sure you do. But I know that we did a taste of the Lakelands Food Festival at home a couple of years ago. Got a fella called Dundon to come and cook, and it was highly successful. About 4 or 5 thousand. I'm trying to remember there was a guy with a trailer from up this part of the world there as well, selling something at it.
John Rogan.
Probably was John. Is he burgers or beef or something?
Yeah,
John Rogan. I knew there was something around here. So Westmeath Leo, go to Westmeath Leo and ask them about a festival for next year. The Hinterland Festival, great idea. I'd love to see your festival be linked with Tony's one about the music and the poetry. There's a really good, strong festival there someplace. If we had a nice base for it as well, and the slipway there bar. Next table, we're going to get through everybody tonight. Nobody's going home without giving us their ideas.
Hi, I promise to be fast. Some sort of local history centre, something a centre around Tully Alley or something like that. So local history is getting quite a resurgence. Number two, a bit like the North Midlands Credit Union, we can have a North Midlands group of towns that act collectively and negotiate collectively, so get together. Three, some sort of park run, like in Mullingar, Castlepollard Park Run. Four, some sort of accommodation project that involves district heating or maybe some sort of low carbon element. Five, a community centre. Six, some sort of public Wi-Fi in the village, free Wi-Fi for everybody in the village.
I thought community centre would come out long ago, and I kept saying to myself, you must have a fantastic community centre already. So, do we need another one?
This building here, the town upstairs,
yes.
it's going to be the new community
So
centre.
it's going to be a bigger one still, okay.
It's bigger, but
Usually when you go to a meeting like this, say, we need a new community centre. This is the first man that said it today, so I'm glad you had the plans for
I'm
it.
not even from Pollard.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, Ciaran.
Look who's putting you up, by the way.
There's a Ciaran here. Some sort of summer music festival, maybe trad music in the town, why not? A storytelling festival like Shanna Keys. So it would be so nice to do, it would be excellent in the winter time. Something like The Gathering. I call it the worldwide to bring back people who've emigrated from the area to come back. And my favourite, pair with another European town.
Twin, yeah.
A twin town, why not?
Yeah.
Somewhere nice.
They're good if you have the right people running them. You know, if you need people who are committed to them and stay with them. And I thought that was only a political one. Is it 5 or 6 towns we're going to put together in North West Meath now for a new superpower, is it?
together, negotiate together.
Yeah.
You know,
The Republic of North West Meath. We show that crowd at home. That's the policy, the motto for it all. I like where you're going with it in terms of as long as it's non-political, because everyone will follow it otherwise. Next table at the back.
Just very briefly, because a lot of these are mentioned already, but public transport is absolutely huge. And to augment, the public transport is already there just once a week. Certainly something more regular. Reopening Lucan Station, I think, would be huge for this region, and more links like that, and hopefully a multi down the road as well. Sensory gardens, skate parks, loop walks, things like that. The elderly, I love the active retirement area. More benches for the elderly there. St. Peter's is absolutely key. Apprenticeships, traineeships, working for, as we mentioned already, further ed. But also, that there's an awful lot of potential there for the EV, the sustainability, just transition, Cool Nagun, the whole Born history. I think a public bank, they've lost 2 banks in this town, and I think a public bank for SMEs to get small businesses going, an enterprise centre and park could come off of that. And then tourism, there's huge for tourism in this area, not just but all around here. That could be tourist boards, it could be, walking tour of the area, nature walk. And then also a local energy project. They're starting an SEC here, so that's something that could be there as well. Now, some of those are mentioned in great detail already, but I think there's an awful lot of potential in each of these as well.
Thank you. I have to say, and I'll be honest, as you know, a public bank, I don't think it's going to happen. A credit union, maybe. They would push the credit union into that role, maybe. I mean, we can't keep the banks. I go to a cheerleader meeting in Manor Hamilton when the bank had pulled out. They won't even take the checks off farmers at the mart anymore. And I've lost hope on that. So it'd be tough, but maybe the credit union could grow into that. I hope it can. The enterprise centre is an excellent idea, and I think it's already emerging here tonight that St. Peter's is going to probably be top of your list when you get to this new town team starts in the new year. But they're really good, strong projects. The local energy project is a great project. It's something that could be funded again under the new green climate fund. It's the climate fund of Westmeath County Council is definitely there. Next.
It's great to see a fab turnout this evening. What we've come up with is we need to have a full-time childcare facility, possibly a community facility childcare that will make it more affordable for people to actually go back out into the workforce in the area. Everything else that we have is kind of all linked. What about maybe the men's shed, maybe to go into maybe making or repairing boats? to source fishing groups outside Ireland. We have a whole world out there, it's a small world. We can source fishing groups to come to Castlepollard. We have a lot to offer. To utilise Lough Lane and access for the type of access for all for Lough Darvara and Lough Lane. Possibly try and involve the youth in this to have them, so even if they worked in conjunction with the men's shed, to elaborate on fishing tourism and introduce a festival of fishing, such as maybe poaching and pike. We have a distillery out in Fore, to elaborate on that, and introduce it maybe into the pubs in the town and get a chef in to show people how to cook and have a big festival.
Brilliant.
No, elaborate
Is
on
there
that.
no community crash already or community place?
No, there's private.
Private one.
Yeah.
There is a new scheme, it's coming out, I was speaking to the childcare people today about the project myself. At the end of the year, is it Walking Steps 2 or something is the name of it. It's coming out later this year, new applications for community play schools, preschools and after schools. So later this year. But you know, Joe, the problem is now, business plan. So you've got to start as a group of parents, so somebody's got to seize the initiative, put up the survey monkey and say, what requirements have you for childcare in the next 3 years? Get information together which indicates there's a need and the numbers are there. Go into the County Westmeath Childcare Committee and ask them to help you with a business plan. So that's the starting point for a project like that. And you need to be starting that now, because you need to find the location, get planning permission ready before the grants come out later in the year. So all of these projects, they really have to start tomorrow or the next day. So 4 or 5 like-minded parents meet in the corner of the bar out there at the hotel. Don't be that place, that's not the hotel. And come through with the idea and go forward. The accessible boats, that's eligible for Just Transition funding at the moment, put it into Amy. And I like the idea of the Poaching and Pike and the festivals bringing them together. The angling, there is angling activity up here. I know there's pike clubs someplace.
Absolutely.
The festival probably needs maybe a greater profile. It's known, I know very little about fishing, but I know 2 things fishermen love, fishing women love. Big fish and big prize money. And unless you have both, they tell me it won't be successful. So I would probably say that local angling club could do a bit more money maybe to help fund it. Get the prize money up, more people will come. That's the way they work. That's my experience, the way they work. And there is funding available from Inland Fisheries Ireland at the moment for fishing competitions. So if anyone knows anyone in the angling club, tell them to apply. Next.
Okay, a few quick points which come really from Europe because they're all funded by the EU if you can get them. First of all, a small community-owned electricity sharing grid. And I've seen that in 2015, as long ago as that, and from literally this year, Electric Ireland and EirGrid have said they'll support that kind of thing. So you link up consumers and producers, people with small wind farms, wind turbines, solar. A small grid. Secondly, use the worked out peatlands west of the town, revegetate them, use them as a natural resource, use them for educating people, as a nature reserve, and encourage biodiversity and have an interpretative centre. Thirdly, this is very important and I think it's been dealt with, provide a reliable, frequent, regular electric minibuses between Castlepollard and Fore and all the other small towns, linking with and scheduling to link with the train services to Dublin mainly, because at the moment you just can't go to Dublin from here without using a car. And that links into with we should pressurise Ciaran Road Éireann, so the last train back from Dublin is not 7 or 8 in the evening, but that's 11. So you go up and have a nice cinema or theatre, come back down, catch the minibus back to Castlepollard. And Killucan, get up Killucan, great. And number 4, provide a network, not just a loop, a network of walking and cycling paths all around the town, which includes footpaths on the roads out of the town. I like walking along those footpaths, along those roads, but when a lorry comes, I've got to jump into the ditch and there's about 2 inches of mud. So proper footpaths on each side would be a tremendous amount. And a small mini forest and biodiversity area within the town. And I think the rest have all been covered, like opening up the old market house and having a mini forest. The rest are okay.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant. The list is tremendous, and the variety of projects is tremendous. I'm not patronising any of you. The list is tremendous, and there's going to be a job here in terms of putting a preference together and starting a piece of work. But go back on your projects to look at the public transport one, and well, local link is I think your only starting point with that. You've got to get Westmeath County Council and local link are their entity on their own, I think, to speak to them, to see if they can link up with your train services and make sure they do that. I think your walking and cycling paths are excellent. Westmeath Leader Community Development Leader Programme next year should be able to fund that. So again, you have to start the process of planning, my friend. You've got to have to bring like-minded people together to plan that route, or at least to get a feasibility study started. So again, somebody like Isabella Donnelly or somebody in that business again will come on board and survey the area, do an analysis, an audit of the flora and fauna on that route, and dictate which is probably the best route to take in terms of those ideas. I love the idea of the power station, not the power station, the energy project. Is it gone there? Still, your community-owned energy grid. Air Grid are holding these public functions at the moment. They call them energy roadshows, and it comes up at every meeting. And they tell us that they will support in small industry and even small housing developments with turbines and selling back to the grid. So the starting point of that is probably the SEAI people, I'd say, more than likely. Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland. I think that's probably the starting point. The strength in numbers on those cases, that's the only what I'd say might be difficult. And the small mini forest is back to what you said about the flora and fauna, about the parks. It's an excellent idea. So these are going to have to be prioritised. Next.
Good evening, everyone. I think Dorothy was so good at getting the grants down in your end of the country, we should kidnap her. First on the list will be handicap parking outside this hotel. It seems since it's been opened, it's been so busy, and there's lots of elderly people that want to come, but it's just always full. A vegetable allotment, a GAA walk around the pitch with lighting, and then somewhere for archives to be stored, perhaps in the market house, wise sayings of old, stuff that's slipping away with people, and the younger kids don't realise what's happening. Summer swim lessons for all. There's loads of kids, and other older kids that can't swim. Festival once a year, the old ways, how to make cock of hay, butter, perhaps a may tree, and the last one will be fishing lessons for kids. There's wonderful lakes everywhere, and let's try and get all these people in to fish, but let's teach all the smaller kids, give them the thrill to catch a fish. I think the younger kids now, unless there's a fishing rod pops out of their phone, it's not going to happen.
A brilliant list, yeah, good list again. The last one, summer just passed, Philip Gordon and Mary Tigwell provided training for 8 weeks for children at the riverbank in Lanesborough. Inland Fisheries Ireland paid for the coaching. I think it was €1,400. Go to Inland Fisheries Ireland website and go to sponsorship and go down to youth coaching, and you'll get funding to pay the coaches. If you can't get volunteers to do it, they'll pay them. You need a male and a female coach to take part in it. The last one, the Festival of the Old Ways, we're back into Leader next time. They're going to have fun. They will have funding for festivals, and the summer swimming lesson is a great idea. There's probably money. Frank, who's the Waterways? There's a water safety program that puts on training classes. Waterways Ireland again will probably help out on that as well. The archive storage. Is there a county museum in Westmeath?
No.
Why shouldn't there be in Castlepollard? Maybe that be a project for the St. Peter's list. Who's on the St. Peter's list? County Museum in Castlepollard. Next.
Thanks very much. Relating to what Jack, just sitting to my right, was saying, there's a Midland Trail Network that Board Fulshire supporting under the JTF. So I think that's something that this community should really try and get involved in, because we have so much great outdoor space that just is in want of connecting. So we have a multicultural food festival. Like yourselves, we had 70 plus Ukrainians arrive in the town 2 years ago in May of this year. And certainly there are a large number of young families living in Castlepollard and the wider area who are not originally from Ireland but have settled here and really want to connect and belong, put their kids in school, find good jobs and live well here. And they're very much looking for ways in. So I'm thinking, can we kind of be known as a very welcoming community? Because we know there's a backlash at the moment, and let's not get into all of that here, but I'm originally from London. I've lived in Ireland 30 years, 20 of which were in Dublin. I came here, beg your pardon, 10 of which were in Dublin. I came here 20 years ago, very welcoming, very friendly community, but perhaps more need for bumping spaces, for places for us all to connect, that aren't just the pub, places where we can be together, where we don't need to necessarily spend a lot of money, right? Where we can practice the lost or losing art of conversation, right? We're talking about a farmer's market, we're talking about more public transport, certainly facilities for children and young people, youth clubs, a parent and toddler group, a bioscape, what we're calling a bioscape around the town, including aspects of Pollard, aspects of St. Peter's. And what I mean by that is a place where we can perhaps, or places where we can perhaps plant pocket forests, have community allotments, have dispersed orchards where we can reach up, instead of going into Tesco to buy our apple, we can reach up and pick it, or our plum, or our pear. Why not? We could do that. We've got lots of spaces, urban and rural spaces that are in need of some TLC. So let's look at housing. Let's reverse dereliction. 28% before the hotel came back. 28% of the town square, the properties were vacant. Let's do something about that. Let's look at circular economy, simple things like clothes exchange, a food cooperative, a toy library. All these types of things are within our grasp. We can do them together to support the move to the low carbon economy, to support a green economy. Let's look at bringing back lost skills, heritage skills. But most of all, I'd say, let's look at what we have, not what we don't have. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. It's a fantastic list. I'm going to come back to some of the funding possible starting points in a moment, but we'll go to the next person beside you and I'll get my thoughts on. So the next person who hasn't been in. You just.
Ciaran, we already have lots of the ideas that's already been presented tonight, but one we have here is as children we lived beside Castlepollard, and we always had a right of way to the lake, but the right of way has been closed for years now, and has been, has not been allowed to be reopened at any stage. So I had gone to court, but unfortunately it's still closed. Is there any way that the right of ways can be reopened in Ireland, or do you know anything about that?
We need a senior counsel and 3 more barristers, I'd say. And we
lots of money.
We wouldn't solve it tonight. I mean, I think, I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to spend an awful lot of time finding out.
Yeah.
But I agree with the scene, the view is fantastic. I got over to Camera Crew once to film a chap on a hearse at Derrybara that was used in a theatre show in Dublin. A pantomime all over Christmas. It was a beautiful scene of a chap coming down that beautiful vista. And I think you're right. And there was access that time to the field.
Oh, there was access. There was always access, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Just in the last, what was 40 years, it's been closed off. Thank you.
One lives in hope. One lives in hope in terms of new owners and different attitudes, etc. Who hasn't been in? Keep going. Yeah, go ahead.
Horticultural centre, training centre for classes and for kids and adults, an art gallery or shop for all the artists around Castlepollard, including Colstown, youth club or Veroiga.
Now see, the art gallery, we'll stop for a second. The art gallery could work with this lady's idea here in terms of the retail, things we're meant for. This one could possibly both would enhance each other.
Or a bookshop as well, yeah, tourist shop.
Keep going.
Campsite, an adventure centre for teenagers and children and adults. Community alert area, text alert along with guards, near that service.
We don't text alert to Castlepollard. Nothing. Somebody robbed the shop in the town, we can't put the word out to the town that somebody's robbed the shop in the town, no?
There was a text that coming down. The link was taken down, that was had enough, and it was let go.
We need to restart.
There was a commission upload conference
the last one is a drink link for rural customers at weekends.
Just a sauna and hot tubs maybe at the lakes. Okay. Yeah, well, mobile sauna and hot tubs. There is, yeah, that's right. There is, yeah, okay.
We'll hear everybody before we go back to the board.
We'll be very brief. Local composting centre in the town, Ciaran repair shop or network, youth club, perhaps including tabletop role play, adventurous skills. Not currently. There has been at various points.
Have they all grown up, kids?
Yeah.
There we go. There's a meeting coming up.
We're hoping to have it down here on. I live in Cardiff, my name. I work for Youth for Cardiff Midlands, and we had a youth club up until before COVID. We need volunteers, so we're having a public meeting here at the end of February. So I'll give my details at the end, or I'll pass them on to the guys.
Brilliant.
Is that okay?
End of February, we're having a public meeting on the youth club. Go ahead, keep going.
Swimming skills, we agreed with that point that was made earlier, lessons in the lakes, lifeguard training for young people. We also like the idea of an arts film or theatre festival in the area. There's a Bord na Móna site just in Cool there, and we felt perhaps a bog museum so we could bring back some of our Westmeath Neolithic treasures back to where they belong, and also where there was that road discovered that was thought to be 7,000 years old. This may sound a little peculiar, but speed jigsawing, apparently Ireland lacks an international team, so we could build that here. Easels in the park.
So, speed jigsawing is an international, there's a world championship. It works on individuals, teams 2, teams 3, communities, counties, national. Ireland is one of the few countries that does not field a team every year. It's jigsaw. They're very well supported, they've been going many, many years. They provide all the infrastructure. All you provide is a ring with tables in it and the people that want to play. And it's prize money for it. It's done.
I asked her to think outside the box, she was listening.
Yes, easels in the town park, sort of fixed, permanent things. And then also, certain of what's become clearer from this group is that there are things happening in the group that the rest of the town don't know about. So, for example, there's a vegetable growing Saturday morning group over at Water Street. So for the people talking about doing horticultural training, there is a little bit of that already. There is what were you saying, Alfie, about the Garda text message system?
There is a text message alert system up and running. People aren't involved, probably can get involved. It's something I'll find out where it's coming from. But there is a text alert system there.
And we put it up on the website, that really alert. And then you have to ring in with a few bob every year to get it. Okay, €5 or €10 to get the text. So we put it up on the website, very important.
Also, there is a North West Meath tourism group, which you probably don't know about because we're sleeping fairly heavily at the moment, but a little bit of encouragement. Also, there is a North West Meath parade committee looking for volunteers, and Tully Nally will be extremely pleased to hear of all of your support in the coming season, as you've all been mentioning it. However, it is still private, so there's a limit to how much we can persuade Thomas to take on some of your ideas. Thank you.
Is that everyone? Everyone is focused then? Okay, now let's go back to the I think that's everything. Anybody else? Okay. Right, just a couple of things going back. I haven't got the answer to all these. I'm not claiming to be the solution. Just go back on the list for a minute. Siobhan, if you can for a second. So the artist gallery was mentioned there. It's probably two ways of doing it. One is a volunteer route. Is there an Irish ICA guild in the town? Yes. Well, the ICA guild in the town could, with a little bit of help, get one of your derelict buildings and put their gallery in there. I've seen it done in a couple of other towns. I said they will need help and assistance, but it'd be a start in terms of it. The Campsite Adventure Centre is an EU Just Transition Fund project. Regenerative tourism is the centrepiece of this process. So anything that involves the countryside. As I said, anything that doesn't involve concrete probably is eligible. Pods, glamping pods, camping, all those anything accommodation, that type of thing would be eligible. So I suggest Amy O'Connor from Westmeath County Council offices is the one to talk to. Community alert, we sorted out community alert thing, have we? Yeah. We lost the batteries too.
One line here there that would complement the hotel. Is there any public-private partnership funding for a swimming pool? Access energy in the hotel and the kitchens, but it's the creation of the swimming pool and the setting up of it. Now, the manning of it is not a problem, but in years to come, hopefully they're going to be building on extra bedrooms. So you put a swimming pool in the basement, so the structure of it can be done economically as well. But in your opinion, is there any, is it board fáilte or for rural swimming pools? All of North West Meath say has to stand on a standalone situation. That's what's coming out of this meeting to me here tonight. If we don't do it ourselves, no one's going to do it for us. That's the beauty of this meeting tonight. But a swimming pool in North West Meath would be very well supported because the hurling club has opened up a state-of-the-art gym, and we have over, I think, 100 people who weren't members of the GAA or hurling club or anything at the time. And the same with our AstroTurf pitch. We're coming in now to support the AstroTurf pitch, and these can run themselves financially once they're set up. But it's the setting up of them that's the. In my time, there was public-private partnership. Is that still going?
No, I don't think so. I was going to answer your question as follows. I don't think there is public-private partnership process in place for a swimming pool, but I think you did suggest the second part, that as an EU Just Transition Fund project, again, the creation of the heat or the energy from recycled or other use is key to it. And that's where you should as you know, they're very expensive to run. You might be able to operate them, but running them is still very high cost. I would say EU Just Transition Fund, Amy O'Connor is our best bet. Go back to the list for a minute. The drink link is local link again, making sure that it goes into the right location, not just the townies get home early or get the service. That sauna hot tub at the lake, that idea has been tried in other parts of the country. It's a successful local enterprise. So if you have that idea, Westmeath Local Enterprise Office, I think you should go to and talk to them. The youth club is coming the end of February. We're making progress on that. The Bog Museum again. So, as we come to the end of the list, the speed jigsaw does it. Come to the end of the list, what happens next? It's a great list, but sure, it's gone out the door now and the piece of paper is thrown away. We had a great night, very positive thinking, and nothing happened. But this is, ladies and gentlemen, where the challenge comes back to you in the room and to the committee to go forward with it. One of the reasons I asked tonight that we have on screen is that we're going to save this Word document and use it now as a template in terms of the variety of ideas from this committee going forward. When the town team gets together here in a couple of months, I presume it'll start.
25th starts.
25th of February or January?
January.
A town team is a new instrument they're using in this county council using. So instead of dealing with 40 community groups in Castlepollard, they will largely deal with one committee, the town team. That's the way it'll work.
Yeah,
and there'll be representatives of various groups on that team, and you'll have a chance to sit in there. And the way it works is that if your committee gets this list together, works on this list, identifies the important issues, the most popular ones, the ones which require least work in terms of putting in place in the short term, I would say that list is then prepared and put back to the town team for examination. Then they would work, the next step is what you say, well, Bog Museum has come up several times, St. Peter's has come up several times. So there's going to be a list of 5 or 6 ideas there that you go back into the town team and you negotiate, you almost negotiate with the council. You sit down and you discuss them with the council and you go through them, and the council will indicate to you from the funding available to them what is feasible. For instance, if you do the street repair work and the accessibility, footpaths, etc., Westmeath County Council will have to match the funding from the state level as well. And it may be that the county manager will say we don't have that level of funding to match it this year, and they will tell you, and you have to be fair with them. I know in my county they have matching commitments this year about 6 million, and that's to match state funding coming in. So it puts pressure on the county council in fairness as well to them. They have to raise the money at local level, and they'll ask the community to raise the money at local level to match it. So a bit of a bargaining game starts at this point, where the county council says, well, we think next time out we're definitely putting Castlepollard into the urban and rural regeneration scheme. And you say, what's that mean? Well, it means 3 or 4 of those projects there could probably be taken on in this town. There's a substantial project going on at the moment in Scarf and County Clare where they're spending in the region of about 1.2 million in the town, regenerating an old hall, several shops along waterways, a new street, new lighting, and I think if this hasn't been done in Castlepollard already, it should be one of your targets in the town team. Place in the new regeneration, rural and urban regeneration scheme, which will take on at least 6 or 7 of those elements together at the one time, and start the process of business plans and feasibility studies immediately. So I strongly urge you not just to sit back and say, oh, I did my bit tonight. I strongly urge you to come back to the committee here and remind them of what your ideas were. And in the meantime, get like-minded people together to see if you can actually get a start made yourself. If it is such a fantastic bloody walk out to the bog, surely the 10 of us can come together and examine the route and perhaps come up with somebody who'll do a study on it, the flora and the fauna, and actually just get the ball rolling. Get the ball. One of us must know an ecologist someplace, or must know somebody who can help us. Don't leave it just to the committee, because they have enough to do, and they're going to have enough to do in the coming months. But your priorities have to be identified now. That's the next stage of this. You must, in the next 6 months, you must identify your priorities. This committee has to work with you. Maybe another survey monkey gadget in the community might work as well for people who are not here tonight to come in on ideas. Identify your priorities. Take on 4 or 5 flagship projects. Don't be taking on 40. It would be crazy. You know that. It would be crazy. The town team should take on 4 or 5 projects, 4 or 5 big projects, and then turn around to the other groups and say, okay, if you feel so strongly about it, the Angling Club, you go and take it on. Here's the funding for Midland Fisheries. Here's the funding for somebody else. And that's just my suggestions on how how it will work for you in a practical sense. We're never going to achieve everything on the board. We know that, but it is great to get them down in print tonight and put them into the plan. I would say area plan needs to be updated. The 5-year plan is probably out. It needs to be updated, and these projects need to go into it. But above all, I say to you, don't go out the door and say, I've done a bit now. That's it. I'm off the hook.
So after tonight, when we all go home, are those the contact details for staying in touch at the bottom of
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And they'll be put up on the website, on social media, and maybe in the West Mead Examiner as well next week, and on radio. So you can see them, and keep in touch with the committee, and remind them from time to time about that festival idea you had, or the project idea they had, and keep the pot boiling, so to speak, because community development is slow, and it needs a lot of patience, but it is the power of the people that will decide largely what goes ahead at the end of the day. And that's my very last point tonight, and I've kept politics out of it until now. If you have a project up here that you feel personally strong about, you get out on that door for the local elections and you tell that candidate to come to your door. You ask them out straight. What about the idea of the sauna and hot tubs at the lake? Will you support that? I don't care what party they are, they're independent or otherwise. Ask them, this is your chance coming before, 7th of June, I think it is. This summer, your chance to get out for the local election, and say it to them, and put it into the mind, because eventually what happens is, the town team will be made up of the local councillors. The new councillors, the old councillors over there, they'll be on that town team. They will return to the council after the summer, after the elections, and they must go into the table and argue with the county manager and the county executive as to what the priorities of the county should be. And the way the system works then is that Westmeath will pick 4 projects for urban and city town renewal, they'll send it to the department, and at that point your Oireachtas representatives have to get off the backside and say, I want that project for Castlepollard in the list the next time. It was picked by Westmeath, it was picked by the people of Castlepollard, now I want it to go ahead instead of the one from Atboy or from Athlone. You know, don't say it to them. You know what I mean? That is the way the system works. Your idea comes together, your town team puts it out, gets the business plan done, gets the feasibility done, send it to the local authority to select it to go forward, and then ask the Oireachtas members to ensure the department funds it. You'll be expecting your Oireachtas members to go into the Department of Rural and Community Affairs and say, there's a very good walkway project, an outdoor recreation project for County Westmeath. We'd like it to feature strongly in the next series, because on its merits, because of the strength of the project. It's the system we have, whether you like it or not, that's the way the system works, my experience. But I say my final thoughts to you tonight is that you have absolutely some fantastic ideas. I look forward to coming back to the Speed Jigsaw event. I look forward to coming back to see more of Tullynally Castle. I'd love to see that murder mystery weekend up there. If you have a word, will you, Thomas, see what he thinks? Maybe 2 of them already.
It might be me.
You see it, you might be you.
It might be me doing the murdering.
You might do the murder. But that's unique. It's unique to your part of the country. And above all, I look forward to coming back to seeing St. Peter's and seeing something positive and vibrant coming from it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Small things. I've been asked just to mention, been asked to mention that there's an exhibition of school projects ongoing in the library, and it'll be there till Monday. And I think there's some prize-winning things there on Saturday morning if you're interested in having a look. And that's been run by the Northwest Meath Historical Society. This book is, I understand, is for sale now. There may be a man here who's willing to take. I want to say thank you, Ciaran, for coming. It's been a very informative evening. Fantastic turnout. Early in January. It's good to see. This list, we're going to compile it. We're going to have it on our website. And obviously, the next thing that I'd ask anyone to consider is joining Castlepollard Local Development. As I say, it's an open group. Anyone can join who has an interest or involvement in the town. I know, of course, there's some people from who travel, so that's, you're going to look to replicate that at your home place. And the next important date to consider is the town team launch, which is January 25th, and that is when the county council come to bring that initiative to the town, and that whole apparatus, will be kind of explained to us and how we feed in these kinds of ideas into that structure, and that's an important date. As I said at the beginning of the evening, this year is an important year for Castlepollard. We're getting one project underway, and then we're going to have the apparatus to start delivering what we want next, once we decide what we want. Again, thank you for everyone coming along. Ciaran, Ciaran, and Tom were your speakers too. Thanks so much.
Thank you.